Capricorn, welcome to your December 2016 General Tarotscope. So I'm shuffling the cards, and right before I lay them out, I just wanted to tell you about a few transits that are happening in December that may be affecting you. And one of them is Mercury. Mercury is going into your sign on the 2nd of December. What this means, and if you're watching in November, you may be experiencing this at the time you're watching, is that you're going to have Mercury in the 12th house in Sagittarius until the 2nd of December, and that can be creating vague anxieties, let's say, because the 12th house is the house of the unconscious mind. It's the house of past lives, in mysticism in general, and so there can be like these, I call them psychic hits, where you feel like these things and you don't know what the influence is, but it can be almost like unsettling at times. And so when Mercury goes into your sign on the 2nd, you're going to feel a lot more, I feel like, not just upbeat, but kind of getting back to business, because the first house is the house of image. And you may be like, kind of thinking about what you want to do, because the 12th house is kind of the, since it's the last house, it's not dealing with practical things. And it's kind of the culmination of every other house. The first house is like a new beginning. And you will be experiencing your solar return on the 21st, on the winter solstice, well, in the northern hemisphere, I should say. For those of you, I guess it's a summer solstice for people in Australia and places down under. But in any case, at that time, that's when the sun goes into your sign and you experience your solar return. So up until that point, you're going to have the sun in the 12th house. And until that point, you might feel a little bit physically lacking energy and things like that. Maybe lacking kind of that enthusiasm or that drive, and then you kind of spring back to life, so to speak. And so Mercury is going to kind of lead the way in that sense and make you aware of the way that you project yourself. And then there's actually going to be a Mercury retrograde in that first house on the 19th of the month. So that could be like rethinking what your image is. And this is kind of important. Capricorns, your sign rules the 10th house of career. So image is kind of like important to you because you're at the top of the chart. And so you're really all about, I guess you could say in a lot of ways, selling yourself. And this will help with that, especially when the sun goes there. But you may just be kind of like going back and kind of thinking, okay, what do I want to do? Which way do I want to go when it comes to, your brand, I guess you could even call it. But there's also going to be a transit that occurs on the same day of that retrograde. Mars is going to go into the sign of Pisces, which happens to be your 3rd house of communication and your siblings, and I think even like extended family, so like cousins and stuff like that, and your local neighborhood. So you may find yourself much more involved in your local affairs, or you may be in a lot of contact with your siblings or doing things. It's a very physical kind of an energy. So something to do with them, or even kind of it could even be that there's some kind of conflict, because sometimes Mars can indicate conflict. And you do have a new moon on the 29th of December in your sign. So that's a great time for you to set intentions for the upcoming year in what you want to achieve. And one transit that should make you very happy is that you have Venus going into Aquarius on the 7th of December, and this is going to be your second house of earned income. So Venus is the natural ruler of the second house, and so when Venus goes into that house, money can follow, and it's already the house of money. So you may get some kind of a boost to the money that you earn during the second, after the second week of the month. So that's good news for Capricorn. So anyway, I just thought I'd tell you about those things. Oh, there will be a full moon. I hope I mentioned that in my prior video. Yeah, I think I did. I was thinking of Sagittarius, because I just did Sagittarius's, horoscope and tarot reading. And so anyway, there's going to be a full moon in Gemini on December 13th. For you, Gemini happens to be your sixth house of health. So full moons can bring endings when they transit a particular house. So, but it's not just health, it could be your workplace. So for some of you, you may be leaving a particular workplace. Maybe you're not losing your job, maybe you're just moving to a different department or something along those lines. And it could have something to do with that Venus transit earlier. Maybe you're getting a promotion. But the other thing too is that it can bring some kind of awareness to you about your coworkers or your workplace in general, something you didn't know. The other thing that's possible is that this could be something to do with your health. You may find out something that you were trying to discover about, a particular health situation. I think that, to tell you the truth, full moons can bring healings because there's a purification. So things can come to a head. I mean, for some people, they may feel like it's actually anything but health, but it's really bringing it to the surface, and so that can be purified. So it's very interesting. It could also have to do with maybe you get a greater workload, and so that can affect your finances positively as well. Because I tend to see the full moon as an abundant time. Fullness to me is less about endings and more about, fruition. Okay. Take my tablet off the table here. Wow. A lot of major arcana cards, huh? Very interesting. Okay. So the overall emphasis or theme is the Emperor card. It's funny, I associate the Emperor with Capricorn, but actually it's assigned to Aries. But it's definitely a figure of somebody who is an authority figure. It could be any kind of person who is in charge of something that is, sometimes I think of judges. I guess you could always say, like, even if it's a court case of some type, or it's actually associated with military figures and police officers, so if that's somebody in your life. As I said, it's associated with the sign of Aries, but this person is someone who is quite set in their ways in terms of how they perceive life, and they are very rigid in their belief structure. This is right, that is wrong. Now, in some lines of work, that's almost a prerequisite that you hold, that you're not that flexible. If someone has to uphold the law, for instance, and any kind of nuances will, complicate things, then this person survives by being, black and white. Or even a soldier. This is, as I say, this is also associated with the military. So anyone who's in battle, if they start to think long enough and they think about, well, is this fair, that I'm fighting this person, they may chicken out. And, the military likes, I think, kind of that blind obedience and also that kind of rigid thinking. And so this person is affecting your life in some way. Now, this could be, I could see this being a boss type of figure, and but it could be in your romantic life as well. Let me just keep going, and we'll see what else transpires. In the past, I get the Sun, which is a very positive card. A card of, as you can see, they're depicting romance. The Sun is associated with Leo, and the 5th house is ruled by the Sun. And the 5th house is the house of romance. So, this is kind of like, for you, the 5th house is Taurus. And actually, I'm recording this on the Taurus full moon. Here we have the Sun. I'm recording it on the full moon in Taurus. So perhaps at the time of this full moon, some of you have fallen in love who are single. Or maybe you're not single because, as I say, the Sun is associated with Leo. The Emperor is associated with Aries. Are any of you involved with Aries and Leo people? Before you were involved with a Leo, now you're involved with an Aries, or maybe concurrently with these two signs. The Sun is a very positive energy. Out of the two, I feel like the Emperor is much more restrictive. But did I say to you at the beginning of this that I associate the Emperor with Capricorn? Because I do, and that rigidity I associate more with Capricorn. And the reason is because Capricorn is a very traditional conservative sign. So this idea of, right and wrong to me is a conservative ideal. The liberal view of things is that, well, there are extenuating circumstances on why certain people are the way that they are, and blah, blah, blah. And people that are more conservative tend to be like, nope, there's right and there's wrong, and other than that, you're just making excuses. So whatever is going on, you had a taste of bliss. It could be that you fell in love and the person turned into this other person. Maybe at first it seemed like everything was fine, and then they became very controlling or very judgmental of you. It could be that you're with somebody who is like the Emperor, but you have fallen in love with somebody who is like a Leo, who's more warm and generous, who isn't as judgmental and withholding. Along with that, right now, we have this energy coming in of the 5 of Pentacles, which is associated with lack consciousness. So it's interesting because I associate the Emperor with a kind of a lack consciousness too. Because this person may have a hard time empathizing with other people. They may feel like, everyone has to lie in, make their, what does it say? Lie in the bed that they've made for themselves. And that is kind of like an ungenerous point of view. When you have generosity, it's not just about handing money out. It's about generosity of spirit. You've probably heard that term. So it's about really seeing the best and the potential in all people. But there's something going on that is blocking that, or that person has a bad effect on you and is making you, I shouldn't say making you because nobody makes you, but is really, their negativity is really affecting the way that you're viewing life. Whereas before you had a much more hopeful outlook. So I'm thinking that some of you, it could be that for some of you, that could have been the person you thought that, they changed after you got to know them better. And first they were acting very magnanimous, and then they started laying down the law or just being very cold and judgmental. In the workplace, you may have, it could be a situation where the management changed and you were happy, and then all of a sudden this new person came in and now your life is like crap. Or I should say your work life. And you may even have experienced a cut in pay. The higher message is the Four of Cups. So I feel like whatever is going on in the scenario above, if you think to yourself, if you admit this to yourself, you were not happy anyway. And I notice that this happens quite a bit, where the universe will take things away that you, for some reason, cannot walk away from, in order to kind of nudge you into the direction you should be going in. Because I do believe that our lives are a combination of free will and preordained events. I believe that we preordain them ourselves. We pre-program ourselves before this lifetime to have certain events. Major milestones occur. Maybe, the person that you meet and fall in love with, or the people that you fall in love with, maybe the children you have, maybe the certain job situations. Maybe there's certain things that we have set into motion ahead of time. But there are certain things that we do have free will over. And sometimes the dissatisfaction is supposed to be a prompting that we need to change course, but we don't. And so we get a little bit of assistance in kind of tearing down those structures so that, we're forced to move in a different direction. And if you can just refrain from trying to control everything, Capricorn, you're going to be fine. The thing with you is you've had Pluto in your sign, and will be in your sign, I think, until 2023 or so. So that's quite a few years from now. And it's totally transforming all Capricorns in some way. But, in the interim, in the midst of that transformation, it can get kind of messy, and it can feel kind of like nothing is certain. Well, if you can just embrace the uncertainty and say, yep, nothing is certain, now what? I'm still going to have fun in life. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to think that, I don't have anything to fall back on. If you can feel comfortable in the midst of change, you'll be fine. If you try to cling, if you try to control, maybe you won't fare as well. So the Four of Cups is the lesson to always engage your feelings. How does this particular situation make me feel? If it makes you feel blah, which is what this Four of Cups represents, if it makes you feel indifferent, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you kind of, just feel like you're sleepwalking, going through the motions, then it's something to look at. Even if it pays well, even if it's job security, is your life purpose to be in a comfortable tomb? Or is your purpose to kind of like sometimes stick your neck out and, risk for the greater thrill of movement, of change, of kind of like that constant refreshing? The card that crosses you is the Chariot card. This is connected to Cancer. So any Cancerians that you're involved with may present a challenge to you in some way. But as a card, it's about taking those reins, or the rein of the horse. I think there's more than one rein. And taking control of your life. And it could even be on the thinking level, on the thought level. But if you feel that you have been out of control, it might have just been worry. It doesn't even have to be something physical. It's all about, the Chariot is about success. But the success comes, in the midst of a lot of stuff around it. So it's not just like the Sun card where it's just like everything is sunny. And people are just enjoying their success, their day in the sun, so to speak. It's really about, there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and you are, one-pointed. You're like totally focused on what you want, and you get it because you are, driven. In the reversed position or the challenge position, it's really allowing yourself to be controlled by these distractions. So for instance, if you were sailing along and you got the boss from hell, an autocratic, a petty tyrant individual, rather than allow that as to be used as an excuse to kind of feel that life is against you, that Five of Pentacles, that lack consciousness, you actually use it as an impetus to really take control of your life. Whenever you find that there's some dramatic development in your life, in any area of your life, it's really a challenge to take control of your thoughts, first and foremost, before taking control of anything else. You can only control yourself, and I know that's a cliche, but it's true. You can only control what you do. And so because of this, you have to be willing to let go of the need to control others. And really let go of it. That means that you just say, I'm focused on me. Yeah, I know this person's doing this, and I don't like what they're doing, but they don't control me. I'm a sovereign soul. The advice, or maybe even like, what's coming in, is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's telling you you're going to be in a good place in either December or maybe going into the new year. It is your solar return. Again, even just on the physical level, you'll start to feel more hopeful and physically energetic, less drained. And in addition to that, you may be feeling that you have a lot of just career success. Yeah, I was thinking, I wasn't going to say career success, but then I was thinking, okay, is Libra your 10th house? Yeah, because Scorpio would be your 11th and Sag would be your 12th. So you have Jupiter in your natural house. So that's something to definitely remember and realize that this could be your year, 2017, when you accomplish quite a bit, where you expand quite a bit in your career sector. And this is very important to you. So if you're having, like, if what I'm describing is your personal life, you can take comfort in that at least. But it could be, for some of you, this is a work situation, and, that can be comforting as well, knowing that maybe you will end up leaving a certain job if you have that kind of a boss. And yet you will be, the universe has your back, as you have Jupiter in the 10th house. The outcome is the Six of Swords. So sure enough, Some of you may be sailing off to quieter, smoother, less choppy waters, or water. And this is going to be something, now this could be on the mental level too, because its swords can connect to the air element, so that could be more on the mental realm. And that could mean that it's not that you're going to physically leave where you are, because this card can indicate moving, moving house. But it can be more of a decision that you make, that you want to be peaceful, more peaceful mentally, because what's happening to you right now is not happening. This could have to do with a partner, or the other scenario that I gave regarding maybe a workplace. But this would be kind of a leader that's creating a lot of stress within the workplace, and maybe even downgrading you financially. And you may decide to leave that situation for your peace of mind more than anything else. And same thing with relationships, for your peace of mind. And I feel like when you make those changes and you make them on behalf of yourself, Capricorn, that you're really investing in your future happiness. It may be very difficult. A lot of us do not like change, especially if you've been somewhere for a very long time. It can be very difficult. It can be very challenging. It can bring up a lot of stuff. But maybe just take it little by little and see how you can ease into it, and it won't be so bad. And the end result can be something a lot better, a lot more positive, where you can feel a sense of relief. So I hope you enjoyed this, Capricorn. I have different types of readings, including career and love. If you click on the link below, it will take you to my website. Otherwise, have a great month of December. Bye.